All throughout the month of June, we received a ton of new trailers telling us all about Sonic Frontiers, and the ways it's going to evolve the Sonic the Hedgehog series moving forward. From story to gameplay, Sonic Frontiers is looking to be a massive step forward. But there are a few things that need a bit of a closer examination. And today I wanted to talk about the combat of Sonic Frontiers. Now, combat has actually been attempted before in previous Sonic games like Unleashed and Heroes, but I don't think it was ever executed particularly well. At best it was serviceable, and at worst it just wasn't fun and slowed down the pace of the game considerably. And today I wanted to talk about all that and more in regard to Sonic Frontiers, as I believe the combat is the most important thing they have to get right in Frontiers, other than the open world level design. Combat is an integral part of this game seemingly, and they have to get it right for the game to feel fun. So let's get into all that and more right now. Now, Sonic is certainly no stranger to combat, as Sonic Frontiers is definitely not the first time he had experience with it. Starting off with Sonic Unleashed and the Werehog. Sonic Unleashed's Werehog is sort of a clone of God of War in a way, but it's just a lot worse. It's not as satisfying as that game, and it slows down the pace of Unleashed considerably, in fact ruining a lot of people's experience, including mine. Then we have the Boost Game's approach to combat, where you just sort of boost through the enemies. You don't really do a lot of things to take them out. You just either boost through them or homing attack them to reach higher places. The Boost Game's main obstacles it throws at you are designed to either make you fall into a bottomless pit or just slow you down and stop your string of good momentum. The adventure games and classic games obviously had a few more ways of taking out enemies, but it wasn't focused on taking out the enemies. It was focused on either using them to gain more momentum and speed, or just taking them out in order to not be slowed down by them. So all in all, combat has never really played that big of a role in Sonic games other than Unleashed, and in that game, it was bad. So Frontiers is really their first serious attempt at combat other than the Werehog, and here's what I think they need to do right to make it work. As Suzuka stated, the core of Frontiers is a 3D action game, and at the center of it are the new combat mechanics and moves that Sonic can pull off. And these moves were at the forefront of the IGN First Combat Showcase, published just a few days after the first showcase, which focused more on free roam and exploration. And after that, we got a bit more combat in the Nintendo Direct trailer, and the triangle boss that every single person on Twitter was somehow down bad for. Throughout all this time, we've seen a lot of the moves that Sonic can pull off and the basic structure of the combat. And we've seen a lot of things that look really promising. For instance, here are a few of my favorites. I really like how you can approach each enemy differently. There's a lot of different ways you can take to beating them, like either using Sonic's new Psy-Loop ability, and can I just say that Spin Cycle is a way cooler name than Psy-Loop, but moving on. It looks like Sonic now can do a few punches and kicks to follow up a homing attack, and then he can move back and pull off a really cool new move that we don't know yet how it's going to be executed because the UI is not available in these combat showcases. But still, a lot of these finishing moves look really cool, like the Bayonetta style kick, or the super jump kick he does. And Roger sounds like he's having a lot of fun voicing these too. I really like the spinning tornado kick that Sonic can do, even though the animation does look a bit rough there, but I'm sure they can polish up the animations before the game's eventual release in Holiday 2022. Now, a lot of the early leaks describe the combat as a bit button mashy, and I can sort of see that happening, but I really hope that that doesn't happen, because I think they can make something really good here if they provide enough variety and don't make it just mashing the A button like the Boost games, even though in the Boost games it was more appropriate. Another thing I like is that they toned down the boost so they could seemingly no longer hurt enemies with it, so you actually have to fight them, and think of creative ways to get around their obstacles. And here we get into probably my favorite part of it all, the enemies themselves. There looks to be a huge amount of enemy variety. We've seen the so far basic enemies, the triangle one, the balls, and the sheltered enemy. A lot of these look really cool, and there's always a few different things that you can do to get around them. And eventually it does seem like they get even more complicated with ways of stopping you from pulling off your basic attacks, like the triangle enemy's shield, so you have to sort of loop around it. in a movement that looks really cool, but again, could use some polishing up in the animation department. And I could go on and on about all these moves that Sonic could pull off. In the Nintendo Direct trailer, they seemingly showcased a cloning technique that Sonic could do, and according to Game Informer, I believe, when you collect 400 rings, you have this huge super boost that you could do to just dash through the enemies at Mach speeds. And all these techniques seem like they're adding up to a combat system with plenty of variety, and just a lot of fun to do. And I haven't even mentioned the parry move that Sonic can do in that one combat showcase that looks just raw as heck, and the skill tree that you could use to upgrade Sonic's abilities. All this looks to be adding up to a combat system with a huge amount of variety, and a lot of charm and fun to it. And all we can hope is that they keep up this variety throughout the rest of the game and all the Starfall Islands. And now moving on to my thoughts about what a Sonic combat system needs to actually work. The thing I would prioritize in the Sonic the Hedgehog combat system is meshing all the gameplay together, so you could seamlessly transition from combat to exploration around the world. And I think Sonic Frontiers is taking an approach similar to that, but the way I would do it is have Sonic's moves just sort of seamlessly mesh with the speed. Could be running around the world at 1 second, and then instantly go in for an attack, follow up with a flashy combo that's fast and rewarding, and then go along your way. I think this approach would allow for a lot of fun, fast-paced, exciting gameplay, while also allowing for a lot of enemy variety. I think that making the combat a really slow-paced and different gameplay style is not the way to go about combat in a Sonic game, as it just massively slows down from the pace of the game, and it results in an unsatisfactory experience like the werehog. Combat could work really well in an open world if designed like this, and I really hope that Frontiers follows through and makes this happen. The combat is going to be a really important part of Frontiers, and it's one that they have to get right for this game to feel fun to play and to be enjoyable. And I really hope they do that, because the fundamentals from what we've seen so far look amazing, and they have a lot of potential here to make something truly great, as long as they keep up the variety, don't make it too button mashy, and just make it seamlessly transition from action to exploration. So that's all I have to say on the combat of Sonic Frontiers. I hope y'all enjoyed. Daviron, signing off.